Peace, love, and light. It's Miss Shay here, and today I'm talking about my third week of my 5-day fast, 2-day eating, intermittent fasting journal. It is extreme, but I wanted extreme weight loss for one, and because I have about 50 pounds to lose, so because we're kind of up there. We're going to move it a little faster by turning the intermittent fasting on its head. And also, I wanted to combat the fatigue you get after 3, 4 days of fasting. You get, just completely exhausted. I decided to eat, refuel during those times in order to, maintain some level of strength. So I would fast, excuse me. I would fast 3 days. Around the fourth day, eat to refuel, and then fast another on the fourth day, eat 5, 6 days fast, and eat again on the seventh, which worked pretty well for me for the first 2.5 weeks, and then something set in. It was difficult around the third week because I think an old issue that I was dealing with, which usually kind of sabotages success that I have, is like just wanting to be a self sabotage and be in a depressed state. And I think I have become addicted to those emotions of depression and a sense of failure in regards to weight loss that I didn't know how to identify to a new life, a new success, a new body. So that did creep in, and it was difficult the third week to stop eating. So I ended up eating 4 days a week and fasted three, which ultimately I didn't gain a whole lot of weight. It did fluctuate a bit, but the days that I would fast, it would go back down. So ultimately, I ended up maintaining weight and maintaining the weight loss that I had from before, but I didn't lose any weight either. And that's not where we're trying to go. So I had to deal with myself and look at, okay, wow, I'm doing it again. Because I've fasted, well, not fasted, but I've done um, diets before, exercise plans, this, that, what have you before. And then when I would get close to accomplishing my goal or when I have a major win, I would follow that up with a setback or it'll be followed up with depression. And the reason for me being so serious about this stage now is because I'm going further. I'm getting older. My birthday's coming up. That was my goal time to assess where I am. Was to accomplish new goals and defeat that mind state that I once had. Um, so I had to stop and look at myself and assess, like, whoa, you're going in a direction that you don't want to go in, and that's the beauty of failure in past times or repeated failure in past times, where you learn your patterns and you learn your mistakes, so you can recognize it. It's not just mindless. You recognize, oh, I'm going in this direction. What happened in past times that I can do to change this direction and fix it? And when I saw one day in my eating on in one of my eating days, I was isolated in my car, uh, staring at the beach because I didn't want to go home to let everybody know that I was eating. It's not gonna be a big deal to them, but I was hiding. I was isolated in the eating, and I knew, like, ooh, that that mind state is there. That I call it Ursa. Ursa, and that's the name from that monster in Will Smith and Jaden Smith's movie After Earth. It was that monster that Jaden Smith was that he needed to defeat. It was the fear that he had in defeating it, and which was really him overcoming trying to be as great as his father or proclaiming his own success and greatness. And that monster had the name of Ursa, that he had to physically defeat. And I named that self sabotage, depressed mind state that I once had was, and I named it Ursa. So I recognized that Ursa was there. So I totally, I'm saying this to say, and I'm being open about it because um, if you have a weight issue, and you do the same thing, you try this diet is working, and then you revert. Why are you reverting? What is it that you didn't stick to the plan? And a lot of times in talking to other people, I find that we have similar patterns where it's depression, is where we define ourselves in a negative light, low self esteem. We define ourselves by having a weight issue. We've defined ourselves by saying that the food has more control over our self control. And so I'm talking about my journey. We go through it. People go through it. I think also self sabotage. My particular Ursha, everybody has it in some way. Like you think of, I think of people like Billie Holiday, or unfortunately Whitney Houston. There a destructive force within them. Then, okay, excuse me. There's that destructive force in them that they had to overcome, those negative voices in their head. And for those that it pertains to weight, yeah, it's about gaining that emotional maturity, and and the tools and the journey, and going about that process, because there's going to be times where life's going to hit us, and we can't revert to the same things that used to destroy ourselves in the end. So reviewing what, I got a problem here. Ursha's in here. Now I gotta cleanse her out. I gotta remove her. Um, so I had to, the negative thoughts I was having, I had to locate what was the negative thought that I was having, which ultimately had nothing to do with food. It had something to do with myself and where I thought I was going, and my journey, money, all of that. So I looked at that like, okay, that's what I had to isolate, what was the cause of the depression, and deal with that. So what's my plan to deal with X, Y, and Z? And I had to acknowledge, like, yes, I'm locating what the problem is. I'm not going back into the same mode where I destroyed myself in the process. So I have to acknowledge my maturity in that and cleanse it. I had to stop it in its tracks. That's what you have to do. The negative thoughts, the depressed thoughts, you have to stop it in its tracks and revert it to a new positive thought. And that takes some time to get used to, because you're so used to the emotion, and you're even addicted to the emotion of the depressed thought, whatever negativity you're thinking of. And you have to turn it into something positive when you see it's there. So a negative thought about how I look, or eating, or money, or all of these things, I had to now give myself positive affirmations to say, and to change my way of thinking. So I made an affirmation board that pertained to money, goals, and weight loss, and things that I would say to myself to turn them into positive thoughts of abundance, and thoughts of emotional and personal self control. So, in doing that, I felt more peace. I felt happy and refreshed, and empowered by that. So, what do I want to say at this point? Yeah, depression can seep in, But and it's because it's not just like like I just did it and it's done kind of thing. Because there's a good chance if you haven't learned to deal with yourself and deal with your issues, you're going to do it again. You're going to gain the weight back again if you really haven't delved deep. So it's definitely about the journey and diving deep. And if you get fall off, you get back on, and which I am doing too. So I'll be happy to see when I reach that marker at the end. To ugh, things get caught in your teeth and your braces. But anyway, to marker to see where I am. And so hopefully, I think it's going to go well. I also made a vision board for the body image that I want, the house I want, well, the house that I am attracting, the body that I am, and the relationships, the money, the everything. I just made vision boards of all those things, and it helped to bring those things closer to me into my meditations, into my reality, because I created positive emotions off of how I saw myself in a positive light, so that aligns myself to that frequency to making it manifest. So I have noticed that my body's becoming more toned, my waist is becoming more snatched, and really the weight hasn't fluctuated. It was more so of the image that I saw of my body. So I encourage you to try that. Try definitely, putting up some positive affirmations and meditating on that, focusing on that, reading that to yourself out loud, putting up a vision board, and focus on those things and see how it enhances your meditation, and just as tools to help yourself when the depression sets in, because it's important to stop it in its tracks and revert it and change it into something positive. And that's my main point for this particular video, because depression happens, but we definitely have the power to control it. Because you are powerful, I am powerful, we all are beautiful. And I'm going to sign off on that note. Peace, love, and light. Miss Shay.